Lowly white guy, white team.
Lindsay, I gotta ask Jeff something real quick.
The meeting for the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency. Let me indicate to you at the beginning that notice of the Open Public Meetings Law is posted in the back of the room. And this meeting will follow that Open Meetings Law. Public comment is invited. Time limit notification, we're asking each individual to not speak beyond a total of 5 minutes on specific items listed on today's agenda. And we ask each person to please identify themselves for the record before their presentation. I'm joined by Carl Eskridge and Tim Clare. Gentlemen, are you ready to go forward?
Ready?
Okay. We'll move forward then with agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes for the JPA meeting held February 22nd, 2018. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there further comment? Seeing none, call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes?
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
The minutes stand approved. Agenda item number 4, approval of February, March 2018 payment registers. Brandon Kaufman is our finance officer, will be presenting that material.
Good afternoon. Before you, you have payment registers for February and March. The February total for operating expenditures was $448,599.12. And the capital expenditures were $1,574.98. For the February budget, and to highlight some of the payments in there, there was $416,398.90 to DEC. There was 2 months of billings, basically. And how that works is we receive the full payment from the DEC, and then we bill back about 62% to the private customers. And then in addition,
Show up?
what's that?
Where does that revenue show up back in here?
Well, it's not going to show up here since it's on the expenditure report, but it shows up in our revenue lines as, I think, a reimbursement from customers. So within our annual budget, we budget to receive money back as well.
So the arena, I'm sorry, I'm getting way ahead of it, but the arena expenditure totals about 38% of our DEC total billing?
Yeah.
Okay.
In addition, we had a repair and maintenance. That was reimbursement. That was for December 2017. There were a number of items on there. A lot of them had to deal with food and beverage maintenance. There's IT maintenance. radio repairs, and fire inspections. The capital budget for the month, and about $1,600 was primarily due to environmental monitoring and the canopy phase 2. The March payment register, a total of $970,000, $445.09 in operating, $26,116.98 in capital expenditures. For the operating, same thing as we just talked about, there's 1 month of DEC billing at $204,661. Repair and maintenance reimbursement again, that was for $14,380.98. A lot of that was food and beverage maintenance, IT maintenance, radio repair, so a lot of ongoing items that occur at the arena. We had parking payments of $223,211. That was for 2 months for management of the parking garages for January and February. With the third quarter staff reimbursement, $99,902. The third quarter IMG allocation to the arena of $270,608. And then the third quarter operating increment of $150,000. The capital expenditures were also related to environmental monitoring and PC Sports contract. Overall, occupation taxes, this isn't on this expenditure report, but just to give you an idea where we're at, we're 1.25% up for the year. We're still ahead of the original projections. We're 25% over those original projections, which coincide with the year 2029. So, and even though they're a little bit softer this year, then we're ahead overall.
All right, questions, Brandon?
I've got one question. Remind me, on the payment to IMG, that payment was, we had budgeted a flat amount, and anything above that that came in, we would pay them that basically they got the difference, so we could budget in a flat amount on IMG payments, correct?
Yeah, and I think we budget somewhere around $1,082,000, and then since the PB or the JPA receives those funds, we then allocate that back to the arena. So on a quarterly basis, same thing with the operating increment, we cut them a check based on the budget amount that goes back to the arena.
Yeah, so it's really not that should be a fixed flat dollar amount. This is more of a bookkeeping correction, not necessarily a profit or a loss necessarily.
No, it's just the revenues that are received from IMG, and then
Right, and then we pay them back per the contract that we entered into with IMG.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Other questions of Brandon? Brandon, thank you. Is there public comment on this particular item?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs of Lincoln Government. So on your March payment, the Three Pinnacle Bank operation and maintenance, what is that?
Are you talking about the arena repair and maintenance
Well,
for the $14,380?
above the two above there.
Okay, so the $270,000 is the money that's received from IMG. So it's generated by the advertising in the arena, but the money goes to the JPA, and then we send a check back to the arena. So it's all generated by the arena, but it comes over the JPA.
Okay. So was that the same amount, or do you take something off the top, or what?
No, we receive that, and I think that amount's set per contract.
Yeah.
And then we pay that exact amount back to the arena.
Okay. So there's no handling fee or anything like that?
No.
Okay. And the 14.3 was what? What,
It's various things. There are a bunch of small items for food and beverage maintenance type issues, IT maintenance and radio repairs.
radio?
Repairs.
What's that?
Well, I mean, they have radios that they operate within the arena.
Oh, with talking to staff
Yeah,
and that kind of
yeah.
thing. Okay. So, you've already paid Kennedy Jenks something, and on the agenda, it has them coming up again to get paid something. So is this some other kind of payment before, or you've already paid that and this is reimbursement? How does that fit together?
Like this.
It's a separate item.
I think they're going to talk about the upcoming item with Kennedy Jinx.
Okay, so you don't know any, you can't answer that question.
These are based off of existing contracts.
Okay. They've already had a contract with?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's nothing new then?
No, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Is there any further public comment? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the February, March payment register? It's been moved and
Second.
seconded. Any further comment? Call the roll.
Heitler? I'm
Yes.
sorry. Eskridge?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
They are approved. Agenda item number 5, Brandon, the expenditure reports. Would you go over those with us, please?
Yes, and you have before you the expenditure reports for operating and also the capital. All of the payments that were made within these registers are reflected in those reports. There's nothing out of the ordinary to report on those, so if you have any questions, I'll stand for them.
Are there any questions? No. Is there public comment on the expenditure reports?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. So, 5835 says thermal heating and cooling. So there's over $1 million budgeted and you've spent some. So exactly what is that?
The thermal heating and cooling, that's the payments to the District Energy Corporation, so. it's
Okay, for the
2.3.
PBA using?
That's for everything within the district.
Okay,
So we receive all the bills for the DEC. We pay those to the DEC, and then we bill back to the private customers within the JPA, and then collect revenue from them.
okay, so the DEC is not city. It's a
No.
separate corporation?
Yeah, it's a separate entity.
Okay, is that a local
Is it a local?
company?
Yes.
Okay.
About a
And is-
block away.
Yeah.
It's about a block away.
Okay, so the city has a contract with them then? Is that it?
If you want it, Chris, you want to?
I thought it was part of
Well,
the arena project.
The DEC is a partnership between the city and the county to operate the thermal and cooling systems for public buildings in the downtown area.
Okay.
Is what it is. And so the DEC does have a contract with West Haymarket JPA to provide those services. And the West Haymarket JPA buys all the energy coming out of the plant that's across or near the arena, and then sells it back to all the private customers in the West Haymarket area.
Okay, so is a private or corporation though?
It is technically a nonprofit corporation.
Okay.
But it is operated by the city and the
In
county.
the county, okay. And so, what kind of money is used for that? Like, is it a percentage of the county gets a percentage of that cost to
There's-
the city?
No, there's no money that goes back to either the city or the county. It's not a for-profit corporation. It is a nonprofit.
Right,
So the monies are used to defray expenses.
okay. So is this included in the city budget then?
I don't think so, no.
No? Okay. So these are just staff people by the city and the county that do that?
The staff is actually LES staff that works for
Okay.
DEC. DEC does not technically have any of its own staff. They have
Okay.
a board.
So it's LES staff?
LES staff that does all the work.
Okay. And they're paid by this corporation?
LES has a separate contract with DEC to provide the labor and the materials.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Is there any further public comment? Seeing none, no motion required, no action required on this agenda item. We'll move on to agenda item 6, WH 18-4, resolution related to the Kennedy Jenks contract. Frank, you're explaining this to us?
Yes, this is a Frank Ularic, Sustainability and Compliance Administrator for the city. This is a continuation of the Kennedy Jenks agreement to do the accelerated pumping of the 3 remaining wells that are showing free product around Canopy Lofts. I had hoped we'd been wrapped up in this last 6-month accelerated effort. We're seeing really good progress, and now while the groundwater levels are actually at their low, is the best time to hit it really hard and recover what fuel falls into the wells. So we're quite confident this last round of accelerated pumping should get us to closure. And the amount is $15,000 and some change, which is actually less than the last round that we funded.
Questions of Frank?
Yes.
And Carl?
Yes, Frank, so the goal or hope here is that by this, I guess, more intensive pumping that this would result in, that then the state would sign off on.
Right. Their statute requires that you remove all free product, and we've gone from feet of free product floating in those wells down to a couple inches. They'll grant variances for some free product in place, but it usually has to be an inch or less. We're quite confident we can achieve that with this last round of accelerated pumping within the next 3 to 6 months, actually.
Okay, thanks. Where are you at with regard to budget for this cleanup? We still within the budget amount?
Right. I'll always have to refer to PC and or Brandon, but of the $7.5 million or so, which was projected 8 years ago for this cleanup effort, we're still right at or within that budget amount.
We have about $98,000.
Thank you.
Great.
When so the process, just remind me, Carl said the state, does the feds, do they have to come in and give any sort of bill of health, basically?
Not on this petroleum remediation. That's an absolute state lead.
Okay.
And you recall there were 2 programs. We had the petroleum remediation, which what remains is at Canopy Lofts, and the broader voluntary cleanup program that addressed the entire Haymarket area.
Right.
EPA only got involved on the altar properties because of the presence of polychlorinated biphenyls or PCBs. It's, for whatever reason, state doesn't have authority over those. So they've actually signed on to the covenants for the altar properties that you all executed a couple sessions ago. Those are finalized today, going back to DEQ and EPA, and we should be all done and wrapped up on all the other broad voluntary cleanup program efforts.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank. Is there public comment on this particular item?
Jane Kinsley with Watchdogs. Did you have other contracts besides this, if you've already paid them? Or did you just say, what would you charge further?
This is the second amendment. We had the first contract with Kennedy Jenks was probably about a year ago, about $7,000, give or take, where they did some test pumping, analyzed the system and the well structures as they were at that time, proposed a modified pumping scheme, which we did in their first amendment for $18,000 or so. So we've spent about $25,000 with Kennedy Jenks to date, and this $15K we think will wrap up the effort.
Okay.
And they've been very efficient and responsive, and the cleanup's going well as we near the end here.
And that's separate from the other 7.5 million, different company?
Banish was the lead. Banish and Olson
Okay.
Associates team was the lead on that, the vast majority of that. Kennedy Jenks was brought in towards the end as a specialty firm to address the petroleum issue.
Okay. And they won't continue with that? You wanted somebody else with different skills? Kennedy Jenks has different skills?
They have a focus on petroleum remediation. Both Olson and Banish do as well, but Kennedy has had a very good track record with the state.
Okay. Is that a local company?
The folks that we deal with have a local office, yes. I think they're headquartered out west somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But they may be located someplace else?
They're a national firm.
They
you
are?
bet,
Okay.
but a local presence.
So you think this is going to be it?
I hope so. Absolutely. And I'm quite confident that if we get to a fraction of an inch, if that DEQ will grant us a variance. And all indicators are that from this first round of pumping and the way it looks now, that we'll get there within 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Quite confident.
Do you have anything to do with Oak Lake?
I'm familiar with it, the old landfill, you bet.
Okay. I'll ask you another question about that, because I understand it's polluted.
Now or another time?
The fish, they can't stock fish anymore.
Jane, I think we're getting a little off topic, but you're
Yeah,
welcome to.
I'd
he
be
said
glad-
something about it.
I'd be
Yeah.
glad to talk with you offline about
Okay.
that. You bet.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment on this item? If not, is there a motion to approve WH 18-4?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further comment? Call the roll.
Heitler,
Yes,
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
it is approved. Agenda item number 7, WH 18-6. Brandon. And Tom, tag team.
I'll just speak to the budgeted purpose of the item, then Tom can speak to the item itself. We do have $100,000 budgeted on an annual basis in the CIP for food and beverage equipment, which this item falls within that, so.
So the bid request and the bid we put through with purchasing was for 5 ice machine replacement pieces. We had 5 bids. We awarded the bid to the lowest responsible bidder. That happened to be Techmasters, a local company. The bid was for $24,450, plus they gave us $150 per unit trade-in value. So the final total was $23,700. Those 5 ice machines will be put into immediate use and provide us ice throughout different concession stands throughout the building.
That's the total expense, 23.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not per piece, that's total for 5.
Okay,
And that's installation also.
good for you. Questions, Tom or Brandon? If not, is there public comment on this section?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. So what kind of a guarantee did you get on this originally?
Originally,
Mm-hmm.
well, these have a 5-year guarantee.
Okay.
And we're at about a 5-year with the other pieces that were installed just before we opened. And so the options were to replace coils or to replace the machine. And the coil and the machine were roughly the same price. With the new machine, you get a 5-year warranty. So this was a more prudent way to move forward at the same price.
Okay. So what's the average life of a machine?
In that 5 to 6 year
Is it?
range. These machines, when initially installed, the new machines, with the calcium that's in the water in Lincoln, there wasn't water conditioning right away in the building, and so there was some calcium buildup. These machines should last well beyond 5 years.
Okay. Calcium, you mean like our minerals that are in there? So now you have
We have
purified.
condition. Yeah, we have, it's like a Culligan type of machine that's
Okay.
larger for the
Okay.
arena.
Any reason why it wasn't done originally?
Part of value engineering when it went through the original process.
What?
Value engineering when the arena was initially built. Different things were picked to be in there and not.
Okay. And that was by you or
Part of the process.
PC Sports?
Wish I had the power to do it individually, but it was part of the contractor's process.
Okay. So you're expecting this to last longer?
These will last very well, yeah. And we take good care of them also.
Okay. When did you put in the conditioning?
About
Get rid of the middle-
about
a year
after-
ago?
About a year after we opened.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there further public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there any additional comments?
I am going to, out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to abstain from this. My office has had dealings with the contractor Tech Masters, and I'm just going to abstain on this vote.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
And I'll second it. It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
Abstain.
The motion passes. Agenda item number 8, WH 18-7. Chris Connolly, tell us about it.
Okay. It should be popping up here in a minute. With all the transactions that the JPA made when it was first organized with Burlington Northern, there were dozens of parcels that were going back and forth. Some of those that came into the JPA were moved on to the city for various purposes. But we came across one little piece here that you see, that little red squiggle there is a small, approximately 10-foot by about 30-foot piece that for whatever reason was not conveyed to the city when the rest of the properties should have been going to the city. Now this is roughly at 8th and N, and the reason why this was discovered now is that Public Works is in the process of signalizing that intersection. I think there's going to be some crosswalk signals of some kind, and so that's where they need to put it. And so that little square is what this deed is that we would be conveying to the city.
Thank you. Questions of Chris? Thank you, Chris. Is there further public comment?
Jane Ginsey with Watchdogs. What do you mean we came across?
When Public Works was in the process of getting ready to put the signals in, one of the things they do is make sure that the property where they're going to put the signal is actually owned by the city. And when they took a look at it, they realized that, this one was still owned by the JPA. So they brought it to our attention, and so now we're taking care of it so that it goes to the party that should have owned it.
Okay, so you're selling it to the city, and specifically to Public Works or just to the city in
It just
general?
goes to the city. It gets conveyed to the city.
Okay, and how much is it?
There is no charge. This was all part of the earlier agreements where property was being swapped back and forth.
Okay,
So this is just being conveyed straight up to the city.
okay, and there's no charge?
There's no
At
charge.
this time?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, Chris, I don't know if you had dimensions of it, but it looked like maybe it was about the size of a large bathtub.
That's about it, 10 foot by about 30 foot.
Okay,
A
or a
pretty
real
good
big
sized
bathtub.
but
Yeah,
that's,
all right.
yeah. So,
Thank you.
is there any further public comment? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve WH 18-7?
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further comment? Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes?
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Agenda item number 9 is setting the next meeting date, which will be, without objection, Thursday, May 24th, 2018, at 2:30 PM in the City County Building, Council Chambers, first floor. Is that agreeable, gentlemen?
Yep.
Okay. Last agenda item is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Call the roll.
Beitler,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Claire.
Yes.
We stand adjourned.